The Freedom of Information release covers over 1 million documents, detailing experiments and operations performed by the CIA over the last 50 years. Something of a secret Cold War that happened under the noses of the civilian population. Much of what we're about to show you is not only disturbing, but completely unbelievable.
Research Log 9-24, Project Scanate. Dr. have made a discovery regarding lucid dreaming that could become useful for the agency. I've attached the data taken, but here's the crux of it. Dreaming, all dreaming, human or otherwise, may have an implicit connection. As to what that connection is, how it works, and anything else, we don't know. But the data from our remote viewing experiment seems to show a direct correlation between a dream's specific location and the enhanced ability to anomalously transfer information. Recipient, Acting Supervisor of AORD Project Administration and Control. Sender, Director. Subject, Project Priority for the Early Days. I understand you have your hands full with the Fallen Eagle, and with starting up this little shell game we're making, I'm afraid I will have to add to your workload. This little project has been on the back burner ever since we started looking into non-traditional intelligence sources. It's even older than Project Stargate, though technically it will be considered part of it now. Long story short, back in the 60s, one of the quacks we had working on anomalous cognition figured out a quirk about human dreaming. They couldn't manage to replicate it, probably because they were too busy keeping their civilian psychics from looking in the wrong places, but the long and short of it is there is a correlation between the locality of a dream and a real connection of minds. It might sound unimportant to you, especially when compared to the reverse engineering you and your team are doing, but I happen to have funded a little pet project of my own looking into this vein, and it runs much deeper than we could have imagined. I've attached the necessary information to get you started under one of the Nightshade ciphers. When you get a moment, have one of your psychs look for the key and get to it. I'm listing this as a higher priority than tinkering. You'll see why when you read the files. Overall findings of dream locality experiments. Abstract. The intention of these experiments, done over a period of nearly years, was to prove there was a connection between ease of anomalous transmission of information and shared scenery depicted in both parties' dreams. This study and its methodologies has transformed greatly over the course of the investigation, and what we have discovered is much more profound than our initial intentions. We can now say, within reasonable scientific limits, that the nature of dreaming is more complex and strange than humanity had ever given it credit for, even in the more outlandish systems of spirituality. The findings of these experiments prove that the act of dreaming creates a local plane of conceptual existence within which the dreamer's conceptual self physically inhabits. More stunningly, despite the local and conceptual nature of these dream spaces, they are all provably interconnected through another form of conceptual space that is partially physical and partially ideational. This space is simultaneously a non-existent theoretical space, simulation, and a tangible physical place that exists outside of the bounds of our understanding of reality, location. It is a place without locale. It is a presence without presence, and we are now able to access it repeatably. There is some mythology associated with this concept among the Aboriginal tribes of Australia who call it the dream time, but the true nature of it is much more baffling than described in their spoken history, though it does in theory connect to the dreams of every living human and other dream-capable animals. It is not as the myths describe, a single place that all dreams take place in. It is a kind of web of places, interlaced and tangled, that can be touched by an individual's own conceptual dream space and moved through with one's own conceptual being. The actual physical mechanism for all this is still unknown and a matter of intense debate, but we've managed to associate the movement into what we're calling the quasi-dream space manifold, as well as certain unusual fluctuations inside the manifold, with a specific wavelength of non-standard energy types, hereby known as alpha waves, beta waves. These unusual oscillations travel through an unknown vector in an unknown way, but can be reliably traced through a combination of telemetry readings. Due to time and resource constraints, we have put the study of this anomalous wave type on the back burner, taking only the traditional measurements and coalition for the purposes of pragmatism. Once an abstraction of the quasi-dream space manifold is accessed by a dreamer, traces of their conceptual location will emit from the and temporal lobe in the form of these alpha and beta waves. Through countless experiments, we have taken measurements of over different dream spaces, mapping their physical as well as conceptual connections, hereby referred to collectively as dream paths. To date, we have found no theoretical limit to the breadth or width of the quasi-dream space, but we have managed to determine a certain kind of directionality. There is substantial evidence that continued abstraction will eventually lead further away from the original dream space, as well as all other simple dream spaces, as dream paths leading back up, so to speak, are almost always obstructed, strained, or completely inaccessible. An example of this finding is demonstrated by the experiment where two participants with foreknowledge of dream locality attempted to visit each other's dreams through the dream space. While they were indeed able to meet in the middle, neither was able to find their way over to the local dream space of another participant. Though this represented a baffling contradiction to earlier dream-walking experiments, it did reveal the downward and outward nature of the quasi-dream space manifold, and, secondarily, that further attempts to invade an individual's dream may only be feasible through more traditional perturbation methods. Despite of research in this vein, we are only now beginning to scratch the surface. Now that we know even just one part of its nature, mankind can investigate what's possible within a dream space, the potential methods of interaction between the dream and the prime material plane, and where exactly the quasi-dream space manifold leads. Project Dreamcatcher. Lead researcher, Dr. Head of Research and Development at the AORD. Research log 1-1. Participants, case officer, and research team member are induced into a lucid state using the Nightlight device, proprietary, and 8 milligrams of galantamine. Participant dream actions are recorded using a combination of brainwave scans, cutting-edge artificial intelligence, and error correction. After processing, the data will be converted into digital video and audio format, and written to Laserdisc for viewing by the research team. Both participants will be kept in separate rooms for the length of the experiment and will be monitored with wave sensor, proprietary, as well as normal medical readings at all times. Both participants are told to move through a series of specific conceptual boundaries defined in supplementary documentation Path 1-1, until they meet in a predetermined quasi-dream space, hereby referred to as 18E. After which they will exchange code phrase, thereby confirming the validity of secondary data provided by Director. Upon waking, both participants have successfully exchanged information. However, case officer reports difficulty in finding the predetermined boundaries and recommends future tests come up with a better system of identifying conceptual objects and pathways with subjective appearances. Both participants reported a feeling of physical exhaustion when traveling through Dream Space 18E. No correlating readings were associated with the sensation, and it is assumed to be a perceptual quality of the locale. On review of collected data and video and audio logs, the exact moments when each participant moved through a boundary, within a margin of error of 3 microseconds, align with expected alpha beta wave reading. Lead researcher declares the validation phase of testing complete. Audio log 1-1-13. Case officer searches for second boundary in 3-C. Okay. Find the path between hot and cold. Not sure how I'm supposed to do that in a theme park. Can't even feel hot and cold in here. What was that, sir? Nothing, don't worry about it. Are you not enjoying your visit, sir? It's fine, I'm having a great time. Jesus Christ. Oh, I see. A roller coaster crash has caused a fire at an ice cream stand. That ought to be it, then. Weird. Audio log 1-1-67. Participant 1 meets Participant 2 in Dream Space 18E. God damn it. I might be out of breath. This isn't even real.
Hey, is that you?
Ah. Are you?
Yup. You ready to exchange passphrases?
Shouldn't we get closer together?
It doesn't matter, as long as you can hear me, okay?
Alright, mine's lemon market water.
Lemon, market, water?
Correct.
Mine's emerald, solvent, pendant.
Emerald solvent.
Emerald solvent pendant.
Got it. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Couldn't agree more.
Research log 1-5. Having effectively validated the previous conjecture and calibrated the recording devices to the fullest extent currently possible, the experiment moves on to the next phase. Case officer and research team members are once again directed to traverse the dream space through conceptual borders. See Path 1-5. After a rendezvous in dream space designation 53-E, both participants will continue through to the next dream layer, designated 1-F, to observe and capture any and all subjective perceptual differences in the objective dream space. Depending on the circumstances, the experiment may then continue on to seeking out the next boundary. It is currently unknown what will happen when multiple parties enter a new dream space together, or if such group travel is even feasible. Experiment is successful, and both participants report a noticeable difference in the coherence and overall logical progression of the new dream space layer. They report that it was much less opaque than any other dream space explored so far. It must be confirmed whether or not this perceived difference is the nature of the space itself, or if it is the effect of multiple observers entering the dream space together. However, based on the testimony of the participants, it would appear that having multiple subjects enter a barrier at the same time has a measurable effect on the projected locality and may make for easier traversal of unexplored dream spaces due to the subjective split. In layman's terms, it seems as if the dream space has a difficult time manifesting its narrative-based locality for multiple participants, and the symbolic imagery becomes a lot easier to understand as a result. Side note. The sensor readings and recordings become a bit scrambled as the participants enter the new layer. This coincides with a dilation in the subject's perception of time in Dream Space 1-F. Both case officers and research team members stated that around 7 hours seem to have passed after entering the new zone. This is a marked difference between the measured time of 6 minutes, but only slightly more pronounced than the time dilation of the average dream space. More testing is required. Audio log 1-5-17. Hey, there he is. Oh wow, that was quick. I just got here. Well, it's not like you're a needle in a haystack. This place is an empty beach. Yeah, I guess. So, the door we're supposed to go through is Fragile Balance. Based on the surroundings, I'd say there's probably something hanging off one of these cliffs. Could be more like a equilibrium. I'm pretty sure it's there. Huh? There's 2 pillars of stacked rocks over in that clearing. I imagine we just have to walk through them. Ah, yeah. Figures this one's easy. The last 3 were like SAT questions. Audio log 1-5-19. Whoa. Well, this is definitely not supposed to be like this. We don't know that. It's a hotel lobby full of cowboys. It's not exactly narratively pure. That is true, but, all the cowboys are alone. The hotel is a symbol of travel, so lone wanderers, yeah. Basically the opposite of us right now. Strange. Do you have a lot of cowboys in your dreams? I mean, I do like westerns. Yeah, well, I go to a lot of hotels. It's like this place got crossed up. You might be right. Looks like it connects to an airport over here. more travel. I don't know what the next path concept is going to be. I bet you dollars to donuts it's going to be a terminal with a horseshoe above it. Either that or it'll have saloon doors. It has to be pointed at the both of us, so... Exactly. Well, even if we find it, we shouldn't go through. We're only pioneering this level. Don't gotta tell me twice.
Research Log 1-11.
Case officer and research team members are to once again meet in Dream Space Designation 53E before continuing on the exploration of Dream Space Designation 1-F to catalog any adjacent dream spaces apart from 2-F, 3-F, 4-F, and 5-F. If no more paths can be found, they will move on to 2-F and begin exploration there. Exploration was aborted when 2 iterations of Case Officer arrived to Dream Space 53E. One of the iterations, presumably an unknown element of the quasi-dream space manifold and not a foreign adversary, was unable to validate its position within the agency, and thus its identity as Case Officer. There is currently no reason to believe that this mimic was any more than a figment of the subjective dream space brought about by Case Officer's repeated visits. However, the level of classified intelligence the imposter was privy to is very concerning. Calls for an immediate investigation into whether or not it was a sentient being or if the dream space itself is able to hold on to information from the subjects that travel through it, even if such information is never directly conveyed. Either option is disturbing. Side note, the imposter arrived to Dream Space 53E before Case Officer, so it is very unlikely to be an unconscious manifestation brought on by his presence in the manifold. This can't be ruled out, but it seems to be an overly optimistic theory.
Audio Log 1-11.
He's sure taking a while. Hey, speak of the devil. Sorry about that, I got a late start. Had to talk to Control. In the middle of an experiment? Must have been important. It was follow-up, but can't really say more than that. Anyway, you ready to go? What the fuck? Whoa! Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck am I? Who the fuck are you? What the hell? No, fuck all this. Whoa, hey, this is a dream, remember? It's not gonna work. Shit. What do I do here? Don't talk to him like you're me. Alright, we gotta figure out who the real one is. It's me. Oh, right. Okay, what was the last project you worked on? It was the project. Uh-oh. How the fuck do you know that? That's my line, buddy. Okay, this is bad. Ask another question. Yeah, ask another question. I'm not sure what else I know. What was your role at the agency before you joined the AORD? I was a counterterrorism agent. Did you just say agent? Isn't that what they used to call assets? Yeah, it might be the agency, but none of the employees are agents. You're being awfully quiet, fake. I think maybe we should head back. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Research Log 1-13.
Rather than giving both participants their own code phrase, they will be given 2 halves of a code phrase, one each, as well as the answer to the code phrase. It's hypothesized that the dream, having a different timbre of logic as a rule, will be unable to come up with the missing half of the code phrase and thus won't be able to pass off a doppelganger of either participant. Respective code phrases, what is actual export, and America's one number, are given to each participant, along with the answer to the code phrase. Weapons. On meeting in Dream Space Designation 53E, both participants successfully confirm each other's identity. Strangely, there is no intrusion by a lookalike or any other rogue element, unlike the last 3 tests, which all ended in failure due to safety concerns. Participants continue on through Dream Space 1F, and into a new Dream Space designated 1G. As with other full-level traversals, the output of alpha and beta waves is exceptionally high, and is accompanied by a seemingly random fluctuation in field levels. Unlike previous explorations, the setting of the dream space is exceptionally fantastical, bordering on psychedelic. Both participants report confusion as to their own identity, most especially in relation to each other. This is backed up by both audio and visual recordings, as well as nerve signal readings, which display abnormal behavior, especially in the brain, which showed uncharacteristic activities for both participants. On review, it is clear that the abnormal brain activity would be considered normal brain activity in the other participant. However, because every human being has a unique neuron structure, the mirroring nerve activity was activating improper sections of the brain. Because of this, the apparent mind switching manifested in physical pain, muscle spasms, unusual gastrointestinal and respiratory activity, and hallucinations, as well as the unwelcome intrusion of the other participants' thought patterns. With great difficulty, both participants managed to retreat from 1G, and then further back to their own dream space where they were safely woken up. While neither participant seems to have lasting physical damage from the event, both participants report psychological trauma, as well as a newly developed mistrust for their colleague. While the psychological trauma has many interlacing causes, the sense of mistrust comes directly from the subjective experience of perceiving the other's thoughts and emotions. They do express a certain understanding for their fellow participant, but this is reportedly not enough to overcome their negative impressions. It is apparent that both participants have learned some amount of information that they are not cleared to know. However, neither participant is willing to discuss what exactly they witnessed. Neither seems to be a leak risk, as both seem just as committed to the agency as they were before, but observation is nonetheless called for. I recommend that experiments move to solo exploration for lower-level pioneering until the exact modus of this obstacle is better understood. Additionally, it would be difficult to continue the experiments with the current pair of participants, as their professional chemistry has turned into an overtly intimate form of disdain.
Audio log 1-13.
Hey, don't say hey, just say your code phrase.
Why don't you say yours first?
Ugh. America's one number. Ah, I see. What is actual export? What's America's actual #1 export? Yeah, I figured it'd be something like that. Should we wait around to see if another one of us shows up, just to be sure they don't have the same answer? No, that should be fine. It might seem overly simple, but I'm certain dream logic wouldn't be able to figure that out even with all the pieces. Plus, now that we've put it together, they might have an easier time of getting it right. Good point. Guess we should get going then. Do you think that elevator could have a door?
Doesn't look like there's anything unusual about it.
No, but we haven't seen the buttons yet. Could be one that doesn't fit.
Ah, good thinking.
Really been showing off your field work lately. Well, guess it kicked into gear now that we might have enemies lurking around. It's a lot of gobbledygook. Letters and numbers don't do well in dreams. They're too concrete. Oh, this is definitely a different kind of symbol here. What, the little yin-yang thing? I guess the other ones are more number adjacent.
Should we give it a shot?
Sure, fuck it.
This is... what the hell is... Am I even... Oh God, what am I remembering?
What did you do?
Shut the fuck up. Oh, what's happening?
This level, it's mixing us together. The logic here is unstable.
We better retreat.
How do I move? Why does it hurt?
We're different people. Our bodies don't work the same.
It was a fucking rhetorical question. Just try to get back to the elevator when
you're in the right body.
Research log 2-1.
Research team member is sent to cleared/safe dream space levels to test the DARPA Sandman's subjective to objective communication device. Test is largely successful, though differences in temporal perception seem to be insurmountable.
Research log 2-4.
Research team member is sent to 1-F to once again attempt to confirm the logic of the already discovered doorways. Despite the drastic changes in the dream space when entering individually, it seems that at least some of the boundaries retain a similar pattern or logical clause as the initial pioneering. Participant is able to confirm all 5 intralayer pathways, including 3-F and 6-F, which had been a sticking point in the last 2 expeditions. On advisement, participant continues on to dream space designation 1-G. Unlike the pioneering expedition, the new layer entrance is far less disorienting on his own. This is presumed to be due to the lack of another human consciousness with which the participant's psyche can mix. Being the only one there, research team member describes the area as largely psychedelic and notes that his thoughts seem louder, but experiences none of the overwhelming quasi-physical effects of the previous expedition. The participant's body, however, experienced large spikes in brain activity far more intense than previous measurements. This may be due to a widening effect on the participant's mind that wasn't allowed to continue in the previous experiment. Considering the wealth of classified information kept in Mr. Psyche, and the obvious potential for leaked data to remain in Dreamspace 1-G, it is recommended that future expeditions spend as little time as possible there.
Research Log 2-15.
Exploration of Dream Layer G is to continue despite participant concerns. After reaching Dreamspace designation 74G, participant is to be administered hypnotics in order to continue the deep dreaming state. In theory, this should help to avoid the partial body awakening from the last two experiments and prevent any psychological damage from the resulting psyche disconnection. The drug appears to be effective, and participant reports no discomfort even after 12 hours of sleep. New dream space pathways discovered, leading to designations 75G and 76G. The aesthetic and perceptual dogma of the new dream spaces, cave/delusion and red planet/detachment, reveal no logical pattern between locations in this layer of the manifold. It's possible that patterns noticed in previous layers were coincidental, but it seems more likely that there is a pattern we haven't noticed or are unable to notice at our current level of perception or understanding.
Research Log 2-19.
Exploration begins for Dreamspace Designation 1H. Analysis of previous readings show no signs of atypical dangers of any kind, and no noticeable similarity to Dreamspace 1-G, which previously caused issues. Despite this assurance, participant is still wary of the new layer, likely due to some aspect of the dream space itself. On entry, as in previous explorations, participant reports a feeling of great unease. This sensation is said to continue throughout the pioneering. Dreamspace 1-H has the overall appearance of an elementary school or daycare center, and this remains consistent with initial discovery. Considering most dream spaces have made at least partial thematic shifts to their environment each new time they are visited, this suggests a more concrete level of stability and locality. In theory, this could be due to its psyche connection to participant, but even in that case, it remains more consistent than other dream spaces with a similar subjective dynamic. More research is needed. Several phantasms are seen wandering the halls of Dreamspace 1-H, all of them children with empty eye sockets. Participant reports a compulsion to look into their eyes whenever they appear, but has so far resisted out of fear of the potential consequences. Despite exploring for several hours, no exterior to the building can be found, and no further pathways have been revealed. Around hours into the experiment, participant gets an intense sensation which leads him to believe he is being followed. Despite efforts by the research team to calm him, he begins to run throughout Dreamspace 1H. At this point, and no earlier than this point, the audio-visual recordings capture Phantasm pursuing the participant. Research team leader proposes that the appearance of the Phantasm may have been caused by the act of running, rather than the other way around. Phantasm appears to be a man of average height, wearing a brown tweed suit. The Phantasm's skin is dark yellow, and appears to be a gel stuck onto its body rather than normal skin, as some can be seen dripping from around the eyes and jaw. Its expression does not change from a sort of tired delight, even as it pursues the participant at high speed. Phantasm can be heard giggling. Unable to find his way back, participant enters a state of blind panic and begins taking turns at random. Though the research team assumed he had lost his way due to the panic, on reflection it is the case that the layout of the dream space changed substantially, and the pathway out was no longer where it had been on entry. Participant shows signs of exhaustion, both within the dream and in his physical body. It is unknown if this is an aspect of the dream space's relative stability or some psychosomatic effect brought on by the participant's fear, but this is nonetheless a considerable departure from previous instances of physical effect within a dream state. Phantasm catches up to participant and holds him down. Participant's heart rate stays above 150 beats per minute for a period of 3 minutes as the yellow man accosts him. Finger marks and defensive wounds begin to appear on the participant's body, though no physical evidence or residue is left behind. Within the dream, the yellow man squeezes the participant's knee, and, at the same time, his kneecap radius and surrounding joint cartilage are crushed in his physical body. After this attack, the phantasm leaves without any noticeable reason, and the participant begins to crawl back through the dream space layers as he is unable to wake up from such a distant part of the manifold. Participant reports that he assumed he would pass out from pain and fear, but he was unable to lose relative consciousness. Despite being in a dream, his projected physicality does not heal from the wound, even after returning to higher-level dream spaces. Participant has declined involvement in further experiments. Side note, case officer reports feeling a sharp pain in his knee during the time of the experiment, despite the fact that he was not kept abreast of any details either beforehand or during. Upon being informed, case officer offers to continue the exploration and research team member's place in exchange for a pay raise.
Audio log 2-19.
Looks like we got the all clear on the sensors. You ready?
Really?
What? Yeah.
Is that really true, or are you just telling me that?
I'm looking at the readout right now. It's all clear. Do you want me to tell you the specific measurements?
No. Jesus. This place can't be safe.
Still getting that dread?
Yes, I am.
Any clues as to what might be doing it?
No. This feels like a really bad place. Oh, God. These kids are so fucked up.
They do appear to have no eyes.
No, it's not just that. I feel like they're trying to get me to make eye contact.
Like, coercively, or...
Anomalous perturbation. It feels like if I don't focus on not doing it, I'll do it on accident.
Well, definitely don't.
Yeah, obviously.
What's going on? You went quiet.
Something's following me.
We're not able to confirm that. Is that another feeling?
Yes, but I'm sure it's true.
What makes you believe...
Oh, fuck.
Whoa, what are you doing?
It's coming.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, calm down. This is still a dream.
Fuck you. You're not here. Where the fuck is the exit?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh, God.
You need to calm down.
Fuck. Ow.
Keep at it, buddy. We're gonna get you home.
Okay.
Once you get to the higher layers, your legs should heal right up.
Research log 3-1.
Case officer proceeds with exploration of dream space designation 1H. Drawing on his field experience and having been briefed on potential dream space dangers and how to deal with them, participant has a much easier time avoiding harm than research team member. That said, participant still reports feeling an extreme dread while moving through the dream space. Eventually, participant enters an atypically colored door and enters a new dream space, designation 2-H. New dream space appears to be a casino filled with people. Compared to higher layer dream spaces, it too is particularly vivid, and it maintains a consistent aesthetic between reentries. It is presumed to be similar to 1H in its thematic stability, and this seems to indicate a more literal physicality of dream spaces in the lower layer manifold. There are no clear and present dangers in 2H, and no ever-present ominous feeling. However, nearly every phantasm within the dream space seems to be tempting the participant to play some manner of game. Naturally, did not agree to make any wagers, as this would be sensationally unadvisable. However, it appears that his unwillingness to participate in any gambling is gradually irritating the residents of the dream space. This seems to apply to all phantasms within 2H, including those that have not yet run into the participant, implying some interconnection between all the people in the casino. On inquiring about a game, participant is told he can simply use his name to wager with. Participant is advised not to do so, and to instead find the nearest exit. Hostility is notably more intense as participant goes to leave, and upon re-entry, the hatefulness of the figments within the dream space has not reset.
Audio log 3-1.
Care to make a wager, sir? Not my game, sorry. It appears that most of the games here are not for you, sir. I'm starting to feel like I'm about to meet the pit boss, guys. What's my move here? Maybe they'll ease up a bit if you ask what the game is. Might be good for us to know anyway. You sure about that, Doc? As long as you don't agree to anything, you should be fine.
Alright. Hey, how does this all work? This is roulette, sir. You place a bet, and if the ball lands on your bet, you win. What do I win? That will depend on what you bet, sir. I, sort of left my wallet at home. That won't be a problem here, sir. We can give you a loan. All we need to know is your name. That's it? No credit check? No, sir.
Don't tell anyone your name.
Why not? Can't the dream space read my thoughts anyway?
It doesn't matter. Knowing your name and being given your name are two different things.
What the hell does that mean, Doc?
Oh,
Who might you be talking to, sir? Just talking to myself. Don't sweat it. You have a connection. Where does it go?
you should run.
Research Log 3-9.
Participant discovers new path from 4H to new dream space designation 5H. Audio and video recording immediately become unviable and communication is severed. After hours and minutes, connection is restored and participant has found his way to new dream space designation 6H. Participant reports that he lost his physical projection immediately upon entry to 5H and that the geometry of the dream space made no sense. He describes the experience as harrowing and that it felt like he had to give himself a stroke in order to move through the non-traditional space. Though he was able to navigate out of the dream space, participant is unwilling to return through 5-H and continues forward. Dream space 6H appears to be a foggy gray plane littered with large skeletal limbs, ranging from around 1 to 15 subjective body lengths in the dream space measurement scale. From careful analysis of the video footage, the scattered bones appear to be largely humanoid, though some of them are absolutely undefinable and likely represent a filling of the dream space, as the bone structure would be completely illogical for a living being. After some time, participant finds a dark tunnel with what appear to be birch tree branches emerging from it. Participant is unwilling to enter the tunnel, as it gives him a feeling of absolute dread. Participant cannot be coerced and thus continues on. Eventually, another pathway is found matching the conceptual door leading from dream space to dream space 43G. Further studies of the potential similarities of dream pathways is recommended, as there may be more of a pattern than previously believed. The pathway does in fact lead to 43G, and from there, participant returns to the shallow layers of the manifold to be awakened. On his return, case officer presents irregular brainwave activity and some numbness in the left side of his body. Medical studies show many similarities between his symptoms and the aftermath of a serious stroke, but there is no corresponding damage to the brain. Experimentation will temporarily be halted until a new participant can be found or case officer recovers, whichever happens first. Surprisingly, case officer insists that he is still willing to continue with pioneering, as he feels that he's almost to the end. Close monitoring of participants' behavior and mental health is recommended.
Research Log 3-219.
Despite the physical injuries sustained in the last experiment, case officer insists on returning to dream space designation 67H to continue the search for the next manifold layer. Once again, participant is given hypnotic drugs at dream space 23H in order to keep his body in a deep sleep state and to maintain relatively low lucidity through dream space 54H and 55H. On reaching 67H, participant is once again forced to hide for an hour as the lightning passes over. Participant passes the shelled-out building and enters the sea of black oil, this time forcing himself to breathe. As predicted, this strategy is effective in preventing liquid from entering his lungs in the physical plane. Beneath the surface of the oil, visibility returns after traveling roughly 6 subjective body lengths down the stairs. The area appears to be a marble ruin, similar in architecture to ancient Greece or Egypt, but matching neither. Stairs descend in a conical pattern, ending in a flat plane with a single gate leading into a wall. Participant reports a feeling that the gate is too sacred to touch, and no visible signs of danger can be found by the analysis team, so the pioneering continues. Gate initially does not open, but participant moves through after pushing against it for roughly 5 seconds. The gate, as expected, leads to the next quasi-dream space manifold layer, specifically designation 1-I. Unlike previous dream space layers, 1-I appears to be somewhat more subjective, like shallower dream layers, though this may be the objective nature of the specific dream space, which is by nature ever-changing. Dreamspace 1-I seems to consist of many interconnected rooms, each with either 3 or 4 doors or pathways to the next room. Each room is thematically distinct, usually, though it does appear to have a certain connection between rooms. For instance, the participant enters a room that appears as an abandoned house, and the next room he enters is a dark forest. Between the 2 rooms is a sliding glass door and a broken picket fence, making the transition narratively smooth. Strangely, the lightning from the higher-level dream space inexplicably appears in 1-I, though in a seemingly milder form, simple flickering light. Participant is once again forced to hide for an hour. After resuming the exploration, participant encounters a red-colored wooden door, which does not appear to thematically match the surrounding room, which is a wedding hall. Participant reports no unusual feeling coming from the door, and no visible signs of danger are found. In the immediate moments following the opening of the door, an extreme spike in alpha, beta waves and a massive fluctuation in the field emerge from Case Officer's body. The measurements are similar to the bursts associated with interlayer traversal, however, the energy output is larger than the combined fluctuations of all previous layer traversals put together. It is possible participant immediately jumped over 9 dream layers down to the manifold layer R, but this is unprovable. Participant's physical body begins to demonstrate signs associated with sleep paralysis, while the participant's brain shows signs of extreme distress and pain. Overall brain activity is considered unsurvivable for even half a second, but the participant continues to live. Audio and video recordings as well as communications are largely incomprehensible, but they do not fully disconnect. On review, it is found that the interference is due to an enormous and rapidly fluctuating dilation in subjective time. At its height, the difference from normal Earth time is 100 billion to 1, e.g., for each second that passes on the prime material plane, participant experiences around 3,171 years. 8 seconds after opening the door, the participant's physical body begins emitting large levels of radiation at a horizontal vector south-southeast from the participant's pineal gland. On review, the highest level of exposure likely occurred some miles away in a civilian residential area, specifically within the mall. Potential effects from this level of radiation are not currently known, but it is likely that some amount of spatial distortion will occur in the affected area, as well as any number of other potential consequences. 36 seconds after the door is opened, lead researcher Dr. gives the order to terminate the participant. This decision is supported by research safety protocols as well as the direct request of the participant. Despite complete brain death, audio and video recording as well as communication array remain connected. After 2 hours of attempting to find a solution for Case Officer's predicament or to otherwise alleviate the situation, lead researcher Dr. orders all equipment to be shut down. This decision is debatably supported by information hazard safety protocols. Lead researcher Dr. orders an immediate halt to all experimentation involving the quasi-dream space manifold.
Audio log 3-219-87.
Jesus fucking Christ. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It's a good thing my body still had the rules memorized. The last thing I want is to get caught out after the lightning again.
Yeah, look, it's okay if you want to call it. We've definitely made a lot of progress already.
Nah, I'm definitely close to the end now.
Can you expound on that?
Just trust me, if you were in here, you would get it. This door looks like it could be a new path, yeah?
It certainly stands out. Are you getting anything coming off of it?
Nothing at all.
Let's see what the analysis team says. Yeah, they don't see anything wrong with it either.
Might just be a prop, then. It's been a while since we found a pathway that...
Whoa! Holy shit! What the hell is happening? Can you hear me? Oh, fuck! What the hell was that? We're getting levels off the charts for this body. Oh no! Fuck!
Jesus Christ!
Kill me! 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 Kill me!
Kill the body, now. See? Is he still alive? No. Jesus fucking Christ. Everyone, try to think of a way to kill him.
2. Lead researcher Dr. From Director. Subject. Dreamwalker incident.
I did what you asked and had a team look into the exposure at the mall. It's just as bad as you'd expect, probably worse. Obviously, I couldn't get anyone inside of the pocket that opened up, but considering the source, there's no way it can be good. As for the door, I do have some idea of where it went. I can't say much about it, even to you, but the long and short of it is that you're right. We dug too deep, and now we've hit a geyser. I'll try to get the development wing going on a solution, but I'm having to do so without letting them know why. Obviously, this is a major problem, but what we're doing is too important to let it get slowed down by a cleanup, much less a PR disaster and a funding cut. Bury it. Bury it so deep we can't even find it. Everything else we can still use, but anything leading up to Layer I can't see the light of day. On a different note, I've been looking over the results from 1-I. It looks like some of the research subjects you sent in came out with slightly higher AC scores. The difference isn't too big, but there does seem to be a pattern to it. Once you're done scrubbing your old team, I'm sending you a new one. I want you to find out exactly what is happening in that dream that makes people more psychic. Just make sure no one opens another red door.
FOI is written, produced, and edited by Kit Curtis. The theme song, A Special Kind of Hell, was produced by Beware the Patternmind, whose music is available wherever good music is played. This month's episode is titled Project Dreamcatcher, and it's based off a combination of real life, my own dreams, and some of the worst things I could imagine. For more context about this episode, please refer to The Mall and Maneuver 1 from last season. If you like this show and want to hear more of it, consider knocking on the mirror and whispering your name. I'll get it. Thank you for listening.